special event alert.
I was late for my day shift because my squadron commander called me in and step promoted me.
Which is excuse number 162 for being late for changeover. Your weekly space news and variety show. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Perrott.
Step promotee, baby.
Step promotee. Subtle brag.
And our
I was just late for step.
man in the closet, Jake Wall.
What's going on, guys? Good to see you as always. I got to give a shout out to Willie, hooking up
Look
all
at
the dads with
Dadzilla.
sweet ass dad shirts.
I like it.
And to Bogey Bros with Eric's thong shirt.
Woo! You know it.
You should have got that gummy bear one.
We're here to bring you the latest headlines, updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other lower branches as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover.
All right.
I didn't even do any cheers today. There was no
Ooh,
cheers
yeah.
for you being
Me.
somebody stay at that guard mount so you could get step promoted. I'm
Yeah,
so
I know, dude.
Oh.
You skipping. There's
Yeah.
just nothing but stories about you skipping out on guard.
I know. That's
Tack it
a
on,
whole
baby.
career.
Tag it on.
And
Tack
these
it
guys
on.
are like, who is this guy? He's never here. He's always playing football. And he's like, oh, he's back to be step promoted.
He's
Yeah,
got
like,
step
Promoted is
promoted.
so cool until you go, ooh, was he that stupid that he couldn't test for that strike? Oh, fuck. That's just stupid.
Well, when we get to one of our stories today, they're talking about relaxation cubes and mind expanding and
Oh,
mind
boy.
strengthening that helps on the old WAPS test.
That's
So
going to hurt my head. I can already
they
tell you
actually
that.
mentioned that.
No,
So,
I already get it.
yeah. Good to see you guys. I guess we are out of the rain now. We're back into the warm weather, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's nice out there.
Back
It's
to riding
beautiful.
the bikes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the good news for the troops continues. I'm telling you.
Hmm.
So let's get to the news, shall we? Let's start off with a financial. This is a quick one, but it's just kind of a financial rundown of the military from Stripes.com. So first up, now the article was built on this, but they didn't really touch much more on that. But House GOP appropriators propose a 3.8% pay raise for troops.
Mo
Is
money,
that
baby.
Isn't that inflation? What is inflation?
4.8.
Is that what it is?
No, I don't know. I'll look it up really quick though.
Fuck it.
Oh,
But
it's
it
gotta be
sounds
comparable.
like an inflation increase. So it doesn't sound like you're like, whoa, look at that, 3.8 more. So can afford Netflix now. I don't know.
Can't complain about a raise, whether it be 1.2 or 3.
No, yeah, good point. Good point. So here's how it goes, right? And they're going to line out some of what the money is for. House appropriators on Monday released a draft of the defense budget that will give service members a 3.8% pay raise, reduce the civilian workforce by nearly 45,000 jobs,
Wow.
and keep the Pentagon's budget flat from 2025 to 2026. That seems odd.
That's interesting.
I like it.
The House Appropriations Committee's defense subpanel is scheduled to vote on the measure today. I didn't find out the results. The full panel will consider the bill Thursday, though the Defense Department has yet to provide Congress with its full budget request for fiscal year 2026, which begins on the 1st of October. Okay. The appropriations measures would increase basic pay for all military personnel by 3.8%. So that's a pay raise across the board. It will also continue pay raises for junior enlisted service members that began this year and slow permanent change of station moves to save more than $662 million. So we covered the PCS change moves.
Yeah. So that's going to be less moves and more money, right?
That's what they figure.
Hmm.
So we'll have to see. You know, they always it's like when they put up a measure for voting, and they're like, well, let's do another toll road because look at all the money for schools. And you're like,
Mm,
yeah, where is all the money for schools? And I'm like,
yeah.
it was supposed to happen. It never happened. This bill
Foolish
also
fools.
codifies executive orders issued by President Donald Trump to end diversity and inclusion programs and prohibits funding for drag queen shows,
And so it should, in my humble
the
opinion.
coronavirus vaccine and mask mandates, and travel subsidies for service members who need, it says, to cross state lines to obtain an abortion.
What?
So they're
You
cutting.
have to put all that. Okay.
They're cutting it all out. Right?
Oh,
That's
well.
what the proposal is. Democrats decried, but it does make you wonder how much money would we spend on this?
Exactly. Like seriously,
$30 for gas? What are we?
what's the cost of giving you permissive TDY leave?
All right, fine. That's
Right. That's
you've
nothing-
earned that anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
What's
right.
the cost of that? It's not like they're going to give you a travel voucher, is it?
Right. Yeah. Well, the whole abortion thing always befuddled me because they're like, yeah, I think we're all in agreement with the principles of abortion, safe, legal, try to keep it rare. But then they're like, but we want you to pay for it. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
know,
No.
Maybe
making
tax funded breast enlargements I can get behind. But I don't know about the other ones. So. Yeah, that's necessary. That's a right. That's awesome. Who am I to deny that? Democrats decried the legislation for putting forward hateful discriminatory policies and said it will harm readiness by continuing the workforce cuts initiated by the Trump administration and DOJ. Republicans are proposing cutting 45,000 full-time civilians for a more efficient and effective Defense Department.
More efficient.
I can see that, but
they're just putting words in there. Like,
right.
What's making this more efficient?
You would think it's the people, but really, it's not the people they have the problem with. It's all the policies. It's all the checklists that they have to abide by.
Yeah,
that's why it's inefficient.
It's not the people.
Yeah, you talk to any of the nurses at the VA, which I always do when I'm waiting, and they're like, we wish we could do this for you, but we can't by policy.
It's the bureaucracy that's
it's a bureaucracy. Right. The bill instead gives precedence to other priorities. About $13 billion would be allocated to support Trump's Golden Dome missile defense system. Okay, I'm behind that. I use more contract money, including more than $8.8 billion for missile defense agency programs and $4.1 billion for the Space Force. Okay.
Can we cut those guys? Cut that?
Nay, at ease, step man.
Do we need that? Promote that data?
More than $1 billion will be spent on counter drug programs. $245 million more than requested by the White House. Jurisdiction over Mexico would also be shifted from U.S. Northern Command to U.S. Southern Command under the legislation. Does that matter? I don't know what that matters.
Nope.
So
doesn't matter.
I don't know. I wonder
anyway,
what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's important to somebody, I suppose.
I thought Northern Command was like defense of the homeland kind of thing.
Yeah, and the contiguous, northern North America, meaning Canada.
So they're
Mexico,
removing Mexico from.
Yeah, they're putting it under Southcom. So,
all right.
Northcom is Canada then.
Now it's Canada and Greenland. I guess
anything going on in the U.S. too.
Yeah, and Alaska. So there's a lot of shit up there, of course. But yeah.
Huh.
So that's what they're doing with your money. All right.
My money.
So let's go. Now I know why they led that article with troops get a 3.8% pay raise, because that was the only good thing out of that whole article.
The rest of it's all crap.
It's all crap.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if all that budget talk stresses you out, then the Air Force may have a solution for you.
Wee.
So from militarytimes.com, the Air Force spends millions on relaxation cubes that may prove worth it.
You might.
Why you're only
That's
getting
what they
3.8? Because we're spending millions on relaxation cubes.
Different color of money, Eric. You know that.
Come
Different
on,
color of
Eric.
money.
It's a bunch
Yeah.
of bullshit.
Well, they got to fund the football teams and shit like that. So, At dozens of bases across the Air Force, troops are undertaking tried and true relaxation techniques, biofeedback, and meditation in shiny mirrored cubes that can project light patterns and even galaxies.
Oh, nice.
The experience, as one
Those
researcher
are only
put
unlocked by Space Force.
Come on,
well, that's
man.
right.
Can't see galaxies without the Space Force, Eric.
No.
This is so bad. I cannot believe this.
What if it works?
What if it works, Eric?
People are taking naps. Go home, take a nap, come back. We don't need a relaxation.
Home's too
cube.
far away.
Look at Google. Google has the nap pods, and look how productive they are.
That's bullshit too. That's bullshit.
I did accidentally fall asleep in the meditation room one time at Building 300 on Schriever. Just a quick one though, Eric. It was only 15 minutes.
Was it
after a heavy chow hall lunch?
Was it the meditation room or was it the nursing mother's room?
No, that one was busy. That's my default though. It has a nice fan, like a fan, noise canceling.
Sure.
Great,
Yeah, sure.
Great. Yeah.
It sounds like we are applying this to every lazy person in the military.
No, they're
There you
stressed out,
go.
Eric. Come on, they're stressed out. Think
All
of the
lazy
productivity
people, man.
that the cops
Lazy?
could get
Come
from
on.
just not getting yelled at by a big step promoted football player all the time. All the time.
Hoo-yah!
All right. So these cubes are produced by Lumina Mind Gym, a flashy new curriculum-based therapeutic tool that's taken the Air Force by storm. More than 24 Mind Gyms have been installed at base fitness centers and support facilities for about $100,000 a piece. Mind Gym, just gym, like a gym, G-Y-M.
But for your mind.
For your
We're
mind.
psychonauts.
3.8% right there. That's why.
Mind Gym just marked its first installations outside the continental United States in Kuwait and Turkey earlier this year. Mind Gym is an isolated meditation pod in the shape of a reflective cube designed to use the combined power of isolation, reflection, light, and sound to create an immersive cognitive training environment. It regulates stress, improves focus, and promotes resilience, Eric. Resilience.
Bunch of lazy SOBs.
I'm pretty sure they said the same thing about the LSD trial.
Sure.
Oh,
This would be like mind-opening resilience, I promise.
All right, fine. I was going to hold off on the picture, buddy.
There you go. Look at that.
Participants sit in ergonomic chairs and wear electroencephalogram helmets that monitor brain waves and physiological responses, such as heart and respiration rates. These sessions, typically lasting about 10 to 20 minutes, use light and sound to facilitate relaxation and mental focus. Now, skeptic Eric, listen to this. The first users were explosive ordnance disposals. Yep. They were
a mildly stressful job.
Yeah, it's true. First users were EOD technicians from Hill's 7th Civil Engineering Squadron, and that initial group of 55 airmen gave Mind Gym its best evidence for effectiveness. Okay. Over 219 20-minute training sessions, according to Lumina Labs, the group self-reported an average 30% improvement in mood. The biodata receptors documented a 16.2% reduction in stress indicators, while 61% of users said their stress management capabilities improved.
Okay.
Sleep quality also improved for 15% of the users. Go.
I am not engaging the enemy. I have to take a de-stress 20 minutes. I'll be back.
I don't think they're deployed to the front lines. But Eric, you'll love the fact that is 70.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Was it 73 hours or days? 219? 219
20-minute training
20-minute sessions. divided by 60.
Oh, now you're really going to piss him off. So
That's only 73 hours. That's fine.
I knew you were going to
Good, dude. That's less than a work week.
This is
Don't
so.
bring it up. You've
this
spent
is
more time
so-
playing Johnny Fuck Around on flag football
This
than
is
you have.
so
They spent
weak.
that whole unit spent mind expanding in the gymnasium.
Hey,
That's right.
we were
That's right.
contact back then. There wasn't no freaking flag
Oh,
football.
I'm
It was
sorry.
contact. So if you're
Contact.
gonna jack it right.
Playing grab ass.
This is so hokey that they're like prepping for the some kind of kumbaya
Hey,
concert.
I'm
It's
sure
helping.
ground units said that about airplanes too.
It said it's helping. It said it's helping.
This thing is useless. What are you going to do with it?
15% can sleep better. We'll take
Ugh.
that, right? Everybody can bitches about sleep. 15%, right?
Yeah.
Many in the group reported stronger focus during the weighted airman performance systems testing, WAPS testing. Lumina stated in study analysis. They also cited decreased incidence of road rage and across-the-board improvements in their marital relations, gym workouts, and even their golf scores.
They're everything better, dude.
Yeah.
They're smushing better.
Yeah.
They're taking WAP tests better.
So here's what's going to happen for the next 2 weeks. Everything's going to be better.
Yeah.
6 months from now, everything will be terrible
You know why?
because it's got some unknown effect, which is causing them to not want to do their job anymore. Or something.
It's because some unauthorized cop is going to get in there and fucking carve a dick or spray paint a dick on something.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I've seen your freaking Cadillac porta potties in your sections of the desert.
So,
well,
you were
like I've
truly
said
buying
before,
this.
have you ever seen the cop scanner that didn't have a bunch of duct tape on it because they're fucking around with it all the
Handle
time?
ripped off within day one.
That is so different than some dipshit sitting in a chair with this, wires connected to him going, I feel so much better.
That,
I am so much more resilient. I'm so resilient now.
What if it worked? That'd be cool if it worked.
So, Eric, let's take this situation. You're playing golf with a buddy. You guys are pretty much, within a stroke or two of each other. All of a sudden you go out and he's like 4 strokes better that round. And you're like,
consistently.
what the fuck? Right.
And
you go out again.
Impossible.
This time he beats you by 5. And you're like, what is going on?
And he's unlocked some multi-orgasm superpower. The cart girl's just having O's. She might be pregnant just by watching him play golf. His wife has never been happier. He's mellow as shit on the way to the golf course and on the way home driving. Just having a blast.
And there's Eric at night after a month of getting beat up. It's like, what is going on?
You know what's happened? You know what's happened here? You two have swallowed the pill and didn't even know it.
And he's like, sure, I'll tell you my secret. It's relaxation cube, dude. Just go try it, man. Just go try it.
Swallowed the pill.
There are now 32 different sessions a service member can select in Mind Gym. A grant last year enabled the recent development and deployment of a stroboscopic light therapy protocol that is supposed to promote higher theta brain wave state, enabling reduced stress in high-intensity situations.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's watch a little bit of this from I forgot who it was from.
Mind Gym.
Mind Gym is a resource available to every person with base access, including dependents and retirees.
Except for cops.
Located on the second floor of Building 500, Mind Gym
They're too busy
is
standing
free
around.
to use, and you can book your session today
There it is. Look
from
at
your
that.
phone. So,
Hey, can you
what is
bring
Mind
out?
Gym? It is a way to
You
exercise
just
your
walk
mind,
in,
just
baby.
like you would exercise any other muscle at a normal gym.
Yeah.
There are different sessions to choose from, each ranging from 5 to 15 minutes long. Sessions are targeted towards improving performance, reducing stress and anxiety, increasing awareness, or better sleep.
You come out and like, hey, why are my pants unbuttoned?
Not again. Not
Again.
Yeah, Mind Gym.
Mind Gym.
I think that was at Malmstrom. I think that's where that was. So they have a Malmstrom, Effie Warren, any place that has a gym, I suppose. So
Ask
Give
the
it a
Marines.
month and it'll be
I
broken.
wonder what the Marines think about the old relaxation cube.
You
Ask
just
the
give it a
Marines.
month.
They would
Eric.
probably love it. They would
No.
probably love
You know
it.
why? It's the same effect that when we were in the Air Force, when we started basic training, and all the smokers got to go take a smoke break. So I went, oh, they get a break? I'm going to have a cigarette in my hand.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's a bunch of crap.
Yep.
But
That's
at the
it.
same time, with those kind of things, you know, I think, you know, my coping mechanism was being able to go and, you know, get a quarter pitcher, you know, and drink, right? So as long as there's something that you feel like you repair mentally, you know, you kind of put yourself back on track, whether that's a relaxation cube or, you know, playing a round of golf.
Yeah.
Okay. So both of you are sitting there and telling me that you're actually buying this thing. You're on board.
I'm just not as big a critic as you are.
I am a big critic for sure.
Yeah.
Big critic.
But Eric, don't worry, right? We've all seen new things like this go into effect, right? The golf simulator at Schriever.
Right.
It was there for a month and then it broke. And it's just probably still sitting there in the freaking corner.
Because they had no sustainment contract to fix it.
Exactly.
Well, that was a relaxation.
We've seen the massage chairs in the relaxation room at Schriever.
Yeah, that's right.
All broken.
All none of them
right?
work. That's right. That's right.
Peterson Gym, the sauna, it's worked for a total of 40 minutes for the last 3 years. And that's proven to help you.
Yeah.
And they still can't keep it working.
Yeah, that's
true. The pool shuts down every other month for some reason.
Yeah.
I
don't worry. It'll go to shit.
Even from the financial standpoint, I question whether that's good spending of our money.
Well,
if it
fair.
works.
That's fair. That's fair. But once it's there, the part of the video I didn't show, you walk in on your own. There's nobody attending it, right? You make a reservation. It's all a computerized thing. When you're there, you put your name in, you say what session you want to do, and you walk in, you do it, you come back out. I hope that door has a lock.
Yeah. Peterson has plenty of money too. They shut down the golf course there. So they got plenty of MWRs.
Did they really?
Hey, self pleasure can take care of your house. You know, you could.
You want them to have like buckety rooms?
You can take care of self pleasure.
Well, you're not going back to your dorm, especially if you're in. Well, maybe you could now. I don't think they double up anybody in the dorm anymore, do they?
I don't think so.
I think you have to share like a kitchen,
a bathroom, or something.
Yeah,
living room.
It's like the quad thing, right? But you still get your own.
It's two separate apartments with a kitchen in the middle.
It's not like going over to Cutter where you and your bunkmate are rotating shifts and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were home today.
Day off.
Oh man.
So give it a chance. We'll see what happens. All right. We'll see what happens.
I look forward to the update.
No, we probably won't get one. Eric, we know you're right. We're just trying to be
we try to be more
of course, your tough
open-minded
guy
about
persona has produced a lot of PTSD.
That's probably true.
So maybe they're trying. Okay, this next story, it came out a couple months ago. It was actually in April, and I saw it. It was in Air and Space Forces magazine, and I thought it was really interesting. One, because I think I know more about the Civil War than I do about the last 25 years that we've been fighting over in Iraq and Afghanistan. So this is also part of my effort to get back into that. But it's not just the Battle of Takur Ghar. Whoops. Let me do this. But it's the results of that battle, and it's really a story about the Medal of Honor. So the Battle of Takur Ghar Controversy Continues. I didn't even know there was a controversy until I read this article.
Yeah.
23 years after his heroic death on a frozen Afghan peak, Master Sergeant John Chapman is still fighting against the odds. Chapman, who was a combat controller with the 24th Special Tactics Squadron, died March 4th, 2002, fighting al-Qaeda fighters on top of Takur Ghar Mountain in eastern Afghanistan after the SEAL Team 6 element, to which he was attached, mistakenly left him for dead when they retreated at night under heavy fire. Now those events are back in the headlines, this time because of decisions at the National Medal of Honor Museum, which opened on March 25th in Arlington, Texas. All right. So what happened? Chapman is the only airman to be awarded the Medal of Honor in the 21st century, and his award was not made without its own share of controversy. He was originally awarded an Air Force Cross for his efforts that day, although some reviewers wondered even then if he merited a Medal of Honor. It wasn't until years later that the case was reopened and reviewers used video from a drone overhead that showed Chapman fighting on alone after the SEAL team withdrew. Momentum then built to upgrade the award. But the SEALs resisted efforts to upgrade Chapman's award. A standoff ensued, broken only after an unusual compromise. Chapman's award would be upgraded from a Silver Star to a Medal of Honor, but so would that of now retired Navy Command Master Chief Britt Slabinski, who led the SEALs off Takur Ghar that day and had inadvertently left Chapman to fight and die alone. Slabinski believed Chapman was dead when he evacuated the mountain.
Ouch.
How's that hit you right off the bat? That's kind of like, wow.
Why does, I'm not sure.
Why prevent it, right? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Let's recap the battle. So I've heard bits and pieces of it, so I tried to put this short recap together. The 8-man unit, a reconnaissance element called Mako 30, was led by Slabinski and included 6 SEALs, an Army signals intelligence specialist, and Chapman, remember, who was a combat controller. When the twin-rotor MH-47 Chinook helicopter arrived to deliver Mako 30 atop Takur Ghar, they found that Al-Qaeda fighters were already dug in, occupying the peak with machine guns, bunkers dug into the mountains, and a tent. I don't know why they throw "and a tent" in there. It's like, and they had a tent.
It was a hardened tent.
That's silly. As soon as the helicopter arrived, the Al-Qaeda fighters started firing on the U.S. forces. The CH-47 was hit in the hydraulics and tried to stay there, but then had to egress away. As it was pulling away, one of the SEALs, Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, either jumped or fell out of the back of the aircraft, dropping 10 feet into the snow. So the Chinook went on to crash. They thought they could stay airborne longer, but it went on to crash up the valley. And the team had to wait for another Chinook to pick them up and fly them to the local special ops base at Gardez. There, they boarded another Chinook because they wanted to go back and get Roberts. So they boarded another Chinook, which took them back to Takur Ghar in order to rescue Roberts, who actually was already dead at this point, killed by the Al-Qaeda fighters about a half an hour before. A Predator drone captured video of Chapman as they debarked, and they were trying to move up the hill. Predator drone captured video of Chapman as he moved immediately uphill to suppress heavy fire coming from a bunker. Closing to a distance of no more than 10 feet, he killed 2 militia in the bunker. Chapman then got shot, and Slabinski saw him get shot and thought he might be dead. As another of Slabinski's men was wounded, he figured, I got to get whoever I have left out of here. So they egressed down. They took cover under an overhang. 6 hours later, 6 hours after they moved about a mile over rough terrain, they were picked up by a helicopter. However, the Predator was still orbiting and continued to loiter overhead and capture a gunfight on the mountaintop. There's only one credible explanation for that firefight, and that was that Chapman had actually survived its initial wound and then fought on alone. The video shows Chapman continuing as a one-man stand in the heart of an Al-Qaeda position for about an hour, killing at least one Al-Qaeda fighter with well-armed rifle fire and a second in hand-to-hand combat.
Wow.
So he's waiting, right? They get back. Now they send 2 more Chinooks carrying a quick reaction force out. As the first of 2 Chinooks carrying the quick reaction force approached, Chapman came out from cover, exposing his position to suppress the enemy fire so they wouldn't shoot on these other 2 Chinooks. So he stepped out, drew their fire, and let's see. He suppressed enemy fire hours after first being hit with possible salvation. Now only seconds away, Chapman was shot once more, and this time it was fatal. So the case for the upgrade ran into pushback almost immediately after. The SEALs objected to the upgrade, which cast light on their organization's shortcomings during that mission. But after a long and bitter dispute, Chapman's Medal of Honor upgrade was allowed to advance, but only if the Pentagon also upgraded Slabinsky's Navy Cross. So the SEALs were like, give our team lead a Medal of Honor, and you can get a team Medal of Honor. It's like, what kind of dealing is that?
I mean, that is savagely like competitive.
That I
so
guess
it seems like
right?
Okay, fine, we both win. That's what it sounds
Sure.
like. I don't know what Slabinsky did though. So
I don't either. I mean,
I do know that he thought Chapman was dead instead of confirming and left his ass there.
Well, there was one part of the article that said he had crawled over a body at one point thinking it was Chapman, but that was actually Roberts because it was at night. So the guy who initially fell, so he thought
Roberts was a SEAL too, right?
Yeah, Roberts was a SEAL as well. So Roberts fell out initially, then the helicopter went and crashed. Then they got flown back and then flown back out to try to get Roberts, but he was already dead. They didn't know that, and so it wasn't.
I like how they went back to check though for a SEAL.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they did not go back to check
for the Air Force. That's right.
I didn't think of that one. That's
go back to talking. Maybe Chapman was alive or dead.
Now, in all fairness, this article was very slanted towards Chapman because they also talked about what the main part of this article was the Medal of Honor Museum that opened in March. They told his sister that he was going to be honored like all the Medal of Honor people with, the bust and all that other stuff. Yeah. However they do it. But instead, he was put in this separate display that was like, oh, here's the first Medal of Honor winner ever verified by drone. And his sister was like, what? Why doesn't he just get the regular Medal of Honor awards? Yeah. So that's where the kind of shittiness came in. So she was fighting and like, he should just be like with every other Medal of Honor winner.
Well, doesn't the No Man Left Behind apply to all services? I mean,
I thought so. Now, I don't want to besmirch Slabinsky because if
Eric,
you take,
I will leave you behind in a heartbeat.
He won't be behind because he won't be there because he's getting step promoted. He missed the flight. I don't want to impugn anything from Slabinsky because if you go back to like the Outpost, you've seen the Outpost, and forgive me, I forget the name of the character that Eastwood played, that staff sergeant, I think he was, because that staff sergeant all but refused the Medal of Honor. I said, I shouldn't get it. It belongs to other guys who died there. Slabinsky may have been the same way, but he got caught up. The SEAL command might have said, you're getting this. And he's like, I don't think I deserve this. And they're like, tough, you're getting it, right?
Yeah.
It may have been a situation like that where he, if you take him 1-to-1, he's like, I didn't deserve it. That Air Force guy definitely deserved it. He may have said that.
Not knowing both sides, full story is hard.
Yeah, you're right. So that's the controversy. But also thought it was a good recap because I was confused on that too. I was like, I think Chinook got shot down and then these guys got pinned down, but I didn't really understand how it went. So that article is really good. It's in the Air and Space Forces magazine if you want to go find it, because there's more in there, obviously, that I cut out about some of the other mistakes that were made on that operation. So anyway, now comes our first ever 2025 military draft. All right. So for those of you who are listening, and Jake, we had zoomed up to 101 subscribers on YouTube, but we fell back to 100. So somebody got that was probably Raul.
Probably, Raul, probably, and probably because I cussed too much.
Oh, yeah. That AG battalion is definitely not listening to you. That's for sure. And for all those who are out there, help us out and just throw a subscribe on there. And help us, some broke old vets.
Make us feel better.
Yeah.
It's only for morale purposes, honestly.
It is. It is. But we came up with this idea. If you could run a country, how would you build your military forces? Well, you'd have to, just like an NFL team or a sports team. You'd have to have a draft, right? So for round 1 of the U.S. military draft, and this is drafting your commanding general.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, you're on the clock.
Ho.
General Ho.
General Ho.
So being a longtime Air Force vet, gotta go with Hap Arnold.
I
got
it.
He just the amount of resiliency and competency he showed with innovating a brand new technology.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
You gave him something that literally no one else had or saw any value in, or very few people saw any value in.
True.
He godfathered the freaking Army Air Corps, went on to do the Air Force, so so now he can develop a whole new branch if he needs to. He sees the value in developing different branches and different tactics, and then he goes on to be an amazing general and develop so many different people in World War II and further on. So and I know I'm biased and I'll fully acknowledge it, but I got to go with Hap Arnold.
Jake's number 1 draft pick, Hap Arnold, is off the board. God, that's really good, man.
I like Hap.
Yeah. Especially when we had that debate over the Air Force generals. That was
I'm a supporter.
Always a good one, right?
Yeah.
All right. Damn it, you stole some of the reasons why I was going to choose my general, but you did them so much better.
But they're valid. They're still valid reasons.
No, they are. They are. And that's why my number 1 draft pick was George S. Patton III, baby.
Ooh.
Troublemaker.
Because they wouldn't listen to his ideas.
Also,
the guy knew military tactics. He studied them. He studied his enemy. He knew how to push his troops. Probably too much, but he knew how to win a war, right? Not be buds, not go out for drinks. He knew how to win a war and what American fighting men needed to rally and to win one of the biggest wars of all time. Plus, he was also an innovator all the way back when he came out of the First World War and he saw tanks used for the first time. And he developed a tank force even with substandard equipment. He still developed a tank force that he fought all the way from Africa up into Italy, up into Europe, and on into Germany, right?
Like Patton too.
Now, he wasn't the most personalized guy.
That was a good one.
That's true. And
he rocked a killer set of freaking Colt 45s.
Oh, yeah.
Pearl handles, baby.
I think they were ivory. Because pearls were what pimps carried. He didn't carry no pearl handle.
He's a pimp.
Yeah.
He's a pimp.
Plus, he also read what the world was. And he knew the Soviets were going to be a threat. He knew we were going to fight them eventually. And that big mouth is what got him relieved. However, what if we had followed him, right? What if we had followed his plan? Then what would happen?
We might be speaking Russian. I'm not sure.
No more step promotion. No more fucking football. You get out there and we're fighting the Russians. That's what we're doing.
I like it.
My number 1 pick is General George Patton.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
So,
all right, 3rd overall, Eric. Who are you picking?
Gentlemen, let me introduce you to the man, the commander who, in my opinion, instilled leadership in everything he did.
Okay.
So let me introduce you to Black Jack Pershing.
Oh, That's a good one, actually.
That is
Yeah.
a killer nickname too. That's
I
a killer
know.
And do you know where that came from?
Blackjack? No.
Yeah. The fact that he was one of the first white commanding officers to command a black battalion. And the slang was actually used as the N word in Jack Pershing. And the slang stayed with him so long that it actually was able to be changed to Blackjack Pershing. So let me give you a little background here on my man here.
Well, now I'm curious
Pershing,
what the original nickname was.
Oh, you know what the original nickname was, Marty.
it was the
Don't
N
play it
word.
off.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Pershing graduated from the military academy.
There was a hard A. Hard A.
No.
Hard R.
Yeah.
So
probably
graduated from military academy at West Point, 1886.
Yeah. Right.
Commissioned as a second lieutenant. Now this is going to cover breadth of experience. Commissioned as second lieutenant, assigned to the 6th Cavalry, which was then conducting operations against Geronimo and the Apaches in the Southwest.
When did he graduate West Point?
1886.
Okay. All right.
1890, Pershing served in the campaign to suppress the ghost dance movement and an uprising among the Sioux in the Dakota Territory. So a lot of Indian background, right?
Yeah.
So from there, he goes into an instructor for military science at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. He earns a law degree, and then he's appointed as an instructor in tactics at West Point. So again, smarts, has the brains.
All right.
Goes to the Spanish-American War. Pershing has the opportunity for rapid promotion. Serves in Cuba through the Santiago campaign with who else? Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh,
right?
Rough Rider. Yeah.
Rough Rider. Yeah. Theodore promotes Pershing to brigadier general from the rank of captain in 1906.
Oh, shit. And you thought you got step promoted.
Yeah, that's a hell of a step promote.
Passed over 862 more senior officers in doing so.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so then he moves on. Know, right? That's who you know.
Ooh. He's in the Mexican Revolutionary against Pancho Villa.
Huh? Okay.
Right? After the United States declares war in Germany, Woodrow Wilson selects Pershing to command the American troops being sent to Europe. Now, you talk about a general who didn't have a good weaponry, no equipment. The military was stumbling back in the early 1900s.
Yeah, we were pretty lousy.
I mean, they were carrying sticks while they were training as rifles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he transitions the military from an anti-insurgency campaigns that had characterized much of his training.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
And then he goes into the Western Front, creates that whole freaking, trench warfare.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So my guy, and then of course we go in at what he did in the individual battles in World War I. But again, the guy's got breadth of experience, leadership all across the board. My pick for number one is Blackjack Pershing.
Oh, good first round, man. Good first round. Hap Arnold, General Patton, and General Pershing. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, round two. All right. Now you have to pick your ground force. Now, this isn't your entire ground force, but it's like the spirit of what you want your ground forces to be. All right. Does that make sense? Everybody's listening is like, what the fuck is he talking about? And I was like, yeah, I know. It'll make sense when you get your first pick. All right. Jake, round two, pick one. Who is your ground force?
All right. So, ground force, we're thinking hardcore, right? Like, no substitutes. I'm going with the 1st Marine Division.
Oh, you son of a...
The 1st Marine Division is literally every hardcore battle you could imagine.
That's true.
Damn it.
Like, it is insane, dude.
Yes.
Right? But the Pacific, they're in Guadalcanal. That's an insane battle. Korean War, they're in that Oh, I lost it. They're on the reservoir, the Chosin Reservoir.
Chosin Reservoir.
Yeah, Korea,
Dude,
right?
Right.
Vietnam, they're just tearing it up in Vietnam. They're in Desert Shield. They're in Somalia doing peace operations. Fast forward to Enduring Freedom. They're in Afghanistan, just tearing it up. They're in Fallujah. Like every massive military operation that needs to be solved is you throw the 1st Marine Division at.
What's the scope of their history? How far do they go back? Do you know?
Oh, they go the first battles. They formed the regiment in 1911, right? They're going. World War II was their first big thing, and they were in Guadalcanal during World War II, which is, that iconic, the Pacific episode.
Yeah.
And that it's just crazy. The battles, Okinawa, Battle of Okinawa in there, and then Korean War, like we talked about last week, the Chosin Reservoir, that battle, they suffered more than 40,000. Like the Chinese forces suffered more than 40,000 casualties trying to stop the Marines from withdrawing.
Right.
Like they were just decimating people. Fallujah, right? The army went in, tore it, like could not solve that problem.
Both first and second battle of Fallujah.
We dissolved, right? The leadership here dissolved the Ba'ath Party, said go home. All their military, all the Iraqi military, if you were a gunner, you took your equipment home with you.
Yeah.
That's it. It was all there. It was like the perfect insurgent warfare opportunity for the Iraqis, and we couldn't solve that problem with the army. We handed it over to the Marines, and they just tore it up. 1st Marine Division all the way.
Hard to argue that point.
Sorry, man.
I was going to take the 1st Marine Division. I'm totally screwed now. First Marine. That was I was all over it. I thought,
dude, I was like,
he's not going to pick this because I'm going to throw Fallujah in there, and he's not going to he's fucking around with the bastards of Bastogne, So I was like, all right, fine.
Historically, those guys were hardcore.
Yeah, they were.
All right, back on the clock.
I should get to go, so you don't get to pick mine.
Fine, I'm going to take the 101st Airborne Division.
Oh, okay.
All right.
101st
Airborne Division. That's my fighting force.
Screaming Eagles, right?
Screaming Eagles.
Screaming Eagles, man.
Right.
All right.
So I did not do my homework. That was a definite last minute room pick. So
I will tell you, Jake, that
they were there since like World War II, right? They innovated the whole paratroop kind of thing.
Right.
Those guys were awesome.
Yeah.
Parachuted in Operation Market Garden on D-Day.
Yeah,
they did Bastogne. Historic defense of Bastogne during the Battle of the Bulge.
Can't dispute the Screaming Eagles. He just did a poor job of presenting.
I did.
No, I'm not disputing. I'm agreeing with him 100%. And
I wish I could back him up, but I chose him, so they're mine.
Yep. Well, I agree. That's a good one.
Okay, so Jake,
I didn't do him any justice. So any of you guys out there, don't worry. I'll come back. I'll get you.
I struggled between Army and Marine units. I really did. So I really, truly looked for something more historical. And I struggled with the Marine side, but I did find the one on the Army side that I truly liked. And that, my friends, is the Big Red One. That is the first infantry division. That was
up there. That was up there for me too.
Yeah.
That's
they've been in everything.
Everything. They've been around. It's so historic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
The first infantry division is a combined arms division of the United States Army and is the oldest continuously serving division of the regular Army. It has seen continuous service since its organization in 1917 during World War I. It was officially nicknamed the Big Red One after its shoulder patch and is also nicknamed the Fighting First. The division has also received troop monikers of the Big Dead One and the Bloody First as puns on the respective officially sanctioned
that's
nicknames.
true.
Yeah.
Jealous. They're jealous.
First deployed to a fight in France in World War I, fought extensively in Africa, Italy, France, Germany during World War II, participated extensively during the United States campaigns in the Vietnam War, stationed in what became West Germany from 45 to 55, and its units rotated West Germany through the remainder of Cold War. So it supported the Cold War.
Yeah.
Deployed to the Gulf War, the Iraq War, war in Afghanistan. 37 members of the Big Red One have been awarded the Medal of Honor, making the 1st Infantry one of the U.S. Army's most honored divisions. That's
37?
My selection. That's correct.
Cow.
Dude.
That's
you did them justice, but that's okay.
37 members, baby.
As we're building towards this army, that was just the first 2 rounds. All right.
Right on.
So join us next week as we continue building this army. And
we'll call it a military, not just an army. Building your defense of the country.
Military.
Yeah.
And we'll go into the Air Force and the Navy part. So for the next couple of rounds next week, that's what we'll do. And we'll be better at it. I'll be better at it. I'll get a backup. All right? God dang.
Dude,
you had nothing and you did research. But.
No, I did research.
Real quick,
I had the 101st. I had the 2nd Marine. It was the Silent Second. The 2nd Marine Division. They're the little brothers.
I know.
You know.
Who was your second general? Did you have a second one?
I didn't think you guys would go with Hap. I honestly, because
I think that's a great one. Yeah,
because guys, I was like, we're all Air Force. I think they're gonna go.
Oh, I wasn't gonna choose
commanders.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna. Choose.
You know, my second was
Big
GW, George Washington, man.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Well,
Army,
right.
That was my guy.
I was really leaning towards Smedley, but Smedley was more individual than what he did collectively with a lot of people. So, but I still admire the shit out of that guy. So
yeah.
And then I was thinking of Schwarzkopf, but because I love the way Schwarzkopf did it. I think Jake froze. Oh, there he's back. I loved how Schwarzkopf went through the Gulf War, but it was so short of a time. So I was like, yeah. And then he retired like right after that. So that was it.
Yeah. And then he died.
Well, yeah.
Pussy.
He died. How dare he
Clearly
die?
He went out a winner, though.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, big winner.
I want to know, bitches.
Come take this from me. Oh, you can't.
No, I got it. Right on.
All right. What a fiasco I turned this whole damn thing into. But Eric, can you save the day with some U.S. military history?
By God, I can. This is kind of cool too.
By God, I can.
By God, I can. This is pretty cool. This was something far enough back that I didn't know occurred. And again, I'm as I told Jake, I'm a big Marine supporter, so this is pretty cool. On 10 June 1898, U.S. Marines landed at Guantanamo Bay, fighting a war against Spain and challenging their colonial rule in the Caribbean.
Really?
The Battle of Guantanamo Bay on the southeastern coast of Cuba served as a significant start to the Spanish-American War. The battle lasted for about 2 days and resulted in a decisive victory for the United States.
That's why we have Guantanamo today.
You got it. I think so.
Whoa.
Yeah. Led by Admiral William T. Sampson, the Americans launched a surprise attack on the Spanish fleet stationed in the bay. Caught off guard, the Spanish fleet, which consisted of 4 cruisers and 2 torpedo boats, failed to respond effectively to the United States offensive, and the Americans sank all the Spanish ships and captured several hundred Spanish sailors. Pretty cool.
This is 1898?
June 10th, 1898.
How'd they have torpedo boats in
1898? 1898 torpedo boats, man. 4 cruisers and 2 torpedo boats.
Huh.
Yeah.
Torpedoes back then. What were torpedoes in the 1800s? All right.
All accomplished by your big time Marine Corps, baby.
Yeah, that's
And
really.
of course,
Yeah.
some Navy.
I
But,
never knew why we had that part of Cuba. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't realize that it was a big battle to the start. I mean, Spain was our adversary at the time, and
yeah.
needed to smack them guys around. They controlled most of the Caribbean. So get out of here.
Huh. That's pretty cool. June 10th, 1898.
Yeah, that is cool.
That was pretty wild.
Way to save the day once again, Eric.
I'm here for you, baby.
See how many views that one gets. That's pretty good. All right, gentlemen. So we end up for tonight.
Right on.
All right.
Heck yeah.
I think my
Well, on behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And make sure that next week that you are not
Late for changeover.
Yep.
Gentlemen, good to see you. Good to be with you. Thanks for the week. And to all those watching and listening, thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week.
right on.